Hi again, I'm Melissa from SoGoSurvey, and you've joined us for part 4, the final installment of Build Better Surveys. Let's get started. So today we're wrapping up our series, making sure your survey is ready to go out and represent you well in the world. Quick questions for today, thinking about how you're reviewing your survey on its final stage in the journey. Have you introduced yourself and your purpose? Are you getting too personal too fast? Are you acting what we'll call bossy? Are you standing up straight, and why should anyone believe you? So this sounds a little bit critical, but that's where you need to be here, a critical friend to yourself and to your survey at this last stage. So again, this is the last step in our Build Better Survey series. If you have just joined us for this one, you can always go back and watch the others first. Survey goals, of course, is a good place to start for part 1. Part 2 is about the questions that you need to ask and phrasing them appropriately. Custom design was in part 3, so your survey is engaging, interactive, compelling, visually appealing, all those good things. And part 4, where we are now, is asking you to check yourself. So here are the 5 questions we'll ask you to review before you launch. So introducing yourself and your purpose, this might seem really obvious to you at this point, but you already know what your survey is all about. You have spent a lot of time with it, and you're very well aware of who you are and what your purpose is. Not everybody else is, though. So the social niceties, hello, how are you, those kinds of things that you would do in real life, they do serve a purpose. And the same purpose can be served by good introductions, good clarity at the beginning up front. If you just start with questions, people will feel like they're being interrogated, or they don't know why they should bother why they should bother responding to anything if you haven't even introduced yourself. So not a waste of time, definitely a good place to start. Getting too personal too fast is also a strange thing to do in a personal interaction. You don't just walk up and ask people how tall they are, how much money they make, anything like this. The same thing is true in surveys. So show some respect, have that conversation a little bit first before you ask a few more personal questions. If you have demographic questions and you can't pre-populate them, make sure, consider waiting until the end so you've earned a little bit of trust and you've had a little bit of a conversation. Because again, if the first question is, how much money do you make? How old are you? What's your education? It just, even though it's useful information for you, it does make a big difference to have that a little bit later in the conversation. Next, are you acting bossy? So mandatory settings are a really great feature to be able to have mandatory options or encouraged response as well. But be considerate about how many times you're requiring answers. So I say here, minimize the mandatory. Nobody likes to be ordered around. Nobody likes to be told what to do. And if the first, 5 or 10 questions that a participant sees are required in order to be able to move on, there's an increased risk that they'll drop out of your survey. So again, minimize what you need. Make sure that those items that are absolutely required, like for example, work location or whatever it is, age group, something that department, something that you absolutely need to know for your data to be valuable, that's what should be mandatory. Other than that, be very cautious about overdoing it. 4, standing up straight. This is something that your teachers and your parents always told you, stand up straight, comb your hair, wear something nice. All of these kinds of things create the impression. Are you smiling? Do people take you seriously? Do you look confident? The same thing is true of your survey. Of course, maybe you don't need to brush its hair, but you need to make sure that everything is clear and clean and good looking. So this doesn't have to mean that you have lots of images, but it has to mean that you've edited, that you've reviewed carefully, that the design elements you've included make sense and they don't distract. You want to make sure that people take you and your survey seriously, even while you're not there to defend it, especially when it's out there on its own being your representative or your ambassador. And keep in mind, again, this is even before you launch, why should anyone care? Why should anyone believe what you're saying? Showing that you're going to follow up, instant thanks is a great way, thank you messages, sharing the results and telling people that you're going to share the results, that does help to build trust in advance too. So people can maybe be following up with you if they haven't heard results. If they haven't seen any action taken as a result of this study, they might know who to follow up with. So having that sort of guarantee or confirmation that's already waiting down the road can be very, very helpful in building trust and encouraging participation. So make sure you measure up. Sounds, again, a little bit like a critical friend here is reviewing your survey before it goes out. You want to make sure that you're testing your survey before your participants are, so you're putting your best foot forward. We say it's a surprise how often hard work means better luck, but it really makes a big difference. Even though it takes a little bit of time to process this to make sure you're getting the objective reviews from colleagues, friends, etc., you'll be proud when your survey is out there and representing you. Thanks again for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again soon. In the meantime, you can connect with us on social media at SoGoSurvey or visit our website, SoGoSurvey.com. See you next time.